names before La Cosa Nostra?
Well, whatever you call it, it's an element of organized crime that has long been a part of Kansas City. The FBI says the mafia still exists here, but it's not as strong as it once was. Tonight, Larry Blunt begins a special series of reports on the Kansas City mob from the past to the present. And Larry, there are still a lot of people around who believe the mafia is a figment of someone's imagination.
That's right, Phil. There are some people who don't believe there is such a thing as a mafia, but if you've lived in Kansas City during the 70s or even the early 80s, chances are you do believe. The FBI certainly believes the mafia still exists in Kansas City. It may not be as visible as it once was, but that may be due in large to the mafia not being as strong as it once was. The crimes have not been as dramatic, and the mafia has not received the attention of the media in Kansas City as it once did.
A violent time in Kansas City history. Gangland killings. Two of the Spiro brothers were shot to death. Carl Spiro lived only to be blown up later in his wheelchair. Entire businesses were blown up when businessmen didn't cooperate with the mob. The mob, or mafia, or La Cosa Nostra, made its presence known in a very horrifying way in Kansas City.
But we're talking about people who will, who can, without any qualms, take a person's life.
Bill Owsley was the supervising agent in charge of the FBI's squad against organized crime in Kansas City.
It sounds funny, but these are not animals in the sense of, it's something that is very difficult for the public and the ordinary person to perceive and understand that in their society and in their world, they have codes and they have principles and they have concepts of fairness.
The mafia's concept of fairness had to do with control, their control.
There was a definite move in those days to buy the election of a governor who would appoint people favorable to the underworld to head the police board.
The tentacles of the Kansas City Mafia once reached all the way to Las Vegas, where it was discovered they were skimming money.
The bread and butter of the Kansas City La Cosa Nostra family and their associates is gambling activity.
Special Agent Jim Esposito, the agent in charge of the FBI in Kansas City, says the Mafia thrived on gambling and loan sharking then, and they do now. Video poker machines, a form of illegal gambling. They were seized in a raid of Kansas City businesses earlier this year.
Some of the equipment that we've seen has been controlled by the La Cosa Nostra.
Federal officials say La Cosa Nostra, or the Mafia, is active in Kansas City in many ways.
They're involved in prostitution, they're involved in illegal gambling, extortion, boosting, that is, reselling stolen goods.
Just last week, a local gun shop was raided, and the owner charged with selling weapons illegally. Since the Organized Crime Task Force is prosecuting the case, it would seem the Mafia may be involved. The U.S. Attorney wouldn't say directly if it is.
I can simply say our strike force doesn't prosecute cases that we believe are not connected to organized crime in some fashion.
Officials say violence is still a way the mob intimidates or eliminates those who won't go along with them in Kansas City. Earlier this year, a car bomb blew up next to this Kansas City business. It cost $300,000 in damage.
From time to time, there have been unsolved murders that occur in this city, and unsolved bombings. There were recent ones within the last several months. And that kind of activity continues. It continues in this city.
Now, the U.S. Attorney says the Kansas City Mafia is also involved in drug dealing. Tomorrow I'll show you my efforts of talking to the top reputed mob boss in Kansas City today and his reputed underboss, and we'll look at the crimes they're accused of committing.
Larry, the popular wisdom is that the mafia was not involved in drug dealing originally. Is that true?
That was true in the old days, Phil. We're talking about 30 or 40 years ago. Many of the families of La Cosa Nostra did not believe in dealing with drugs. They said it was hands-off for them. It was part of their code of honor. But that was quite different for the Kansas City Mafia. The U.S. Attorney here in Kansas City tells me that the Kansas City Mafia has been dealing in drugs since the 40s, and they continue to do so today.
One of the first then to break that kind of ethic of the mob.
Went against the grain.
Thank you, Larry.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kansas City.